let's start with a meditation again then. And we'll see if there's any questions or things that come up from that people want to explore. So if you want to just gently close your eyes. And just simply, silently accepting everything that's here. Now. Just silently observing, witnessing, without any judgment. And as you just witness, just be open from your heart to experience the energy of the spheres or spheres of light. This energy is the same as the pure state, the infinite I am. And even this pure state I am can be witnessed, sensed, and that's from the deeper awareness or infinite silence. Just like a sliver of ice melting effortlessly into an infinite ocean of silence. Just resting in this, through this, as this awareness. And we'll ask the question inside. Who am I before or without this I thought? And just see if anything emerges. Who am I without or before the I thought? And now, who am I without or before memory? simply, silently aware. Resting in, through, and as this infinite silence. Nothing you have to do to be this. Always here, eternally here. Now, good. So just resting with this, aware of the chair you're sat in, the space, resting as this. And when the time's right for you, just gently opening your eyes. Good. So, is there anything from that that anybody wants to ask or share, or anything else for that matter, that's burning for you here now? Is that Nicole? Nicole, was it Nicole?
Nicole, and we've got David as well.
Yeah, right. So let's go with Nicole first then.
Okay, just that it's felt like a power washing from the inside, like a bunch of old dental things that might have happened. I had a ton of dental work as a child, so it's like there's like these little constrictions that were just like felt like a power washing of like releasing the tightness that I didn't know was really there. So it's like, yeah. And then some through the head too, a little. And I mean, just a bunch of buzzing too throughout the whole body. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So good. That's good. That's pretty powerful stuff. I sometimes refer to this as like being jet washed from the inside. So that can happen just as simply as that with a very short, yet actually very powerful meditation. Because As I've shared on many occasions, for most of you at least, the belief that all I am is this body mind, belief in the I thought, in other words, is the central block to self realization. And so, as you open to that awareness, and we lift away or remove the possibility of that belief, then awareness will start to arise and the silence will do its work, so to speak. So that's good. Thank you for sharing, Nicole. Anything else you wanted to ask before we move on?
Yeah, I think that's all. Just that I'm just grateful that the great melancholy seems to be over-ish.
Yeah.
And that's all. Just grateful.
Good. So we talked about that. If not, anybody's not sure what Nicole was talking about there. I referred to at the retreat of the weekend the great melancholy or the great sadness. This is something that comes as we open up to releasing the belief in that identity. There can be a deep sadness that comes, as well as a fear, but the sadness tends to come after the fear. And that also is just a phenomena, a letting go energy that gets dissolved by the power of that awareness. There's nothing you have to do about it. It's a felt sense. The awareness will dissolve it. It'll just fade of its own accord. So I'm glad that you felt that dissolving, Nicole. That sounds good. Anything more from you?
That is all. Thank you.
Good. So I think I saw David and then Andrea. So shall we go to David?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, David. Yeah.
I'm David from Germany, and I just have the impulse to share for the sake of sharing, because I always liked it in the past if someone shared out of his experience, especially when you have the same meditation techniques working all together, and everybody still has some different experiences. So I'm just trying to speak out of that space. So I had some quite intense years with a lot of meditation and inquiry, and it felt very good to have this this meditation again, because I started with it 2 years ago when I first, or 3 years ago when I first talked to Philip. And to come back there now feels very good, and I just want to share a few words. So for me, the first part, the I am part, is very interesting, because the more you fade out of this mind, of this body, it gets more and more clear how all these functions like mind, intellect, sense perceptions, all are getting faded out, and like light. It's very difficult to describe, but you can deconstruct the whole thing. And you see it's just functions working together, and we call it ego, or we call it a person and personality. It's just these different functions working together. There's nothing more in it the more you go into it. And that the more I stayed in this I am, the more clearer it is. And it's very freeing. and it's a state of presence, vast presence, and the body identification, or the consciousness of the body is fading away more and more, and then realizing that there is even beyond, and there's this, what you call silence or deeper awareness, is a nice description for that. For me, in my experience, it's just a nothingness. It's
Yeah.
completely nothing, but it's more alive than even the I am state. It's yes, I think it's even more difficult to describe in words. It's absolutely alive, and it's infinite. And when I just staying in there and living out of this, there is this paradox: you see the world, but you don't see it.
Yes.
So you don't have the experience of the world because you don't have these forms and names. They don't arise. I always try. I think it's because you're beyond the thoughts. So you have the thoughts in front of you, but you don't attach to them, and so you see things which are not separate, and you don't have descriptions.
Excellent.
And that is what I want. I think that's what I can share about.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, David. So yeah, absolutely. So that's great. What David was sharing there, the experience, trying to put into words that which is beyond words, the silence, the awareness that I'm pointing at all the time, also known as no thing or no thingness. There is literally nothing there, no phenomena, just an energy that's aware of itself as that. Just that. And things, we're so used to things, even thoughts are things. But things are always limited and bound by space, time, and form and contrast. But this no thingness, the infinite silence, the infinite awareness, the infinite consciousness is unbound. It's infinite and eternal. And David was sharing there that, thoughts, the form of David and so forth, appearing in front of or within that. And yet there's no identification with it. And this essence, experience of peace will feel like stillness, silence in the body. Yes, the body's here. None of these things are separate from that. These are phenomena appearing in front of that. But you, that which you truly are, is the awareness or silence. Those two words interchangeably for the purposes of this. So beautiful that you shared that, David, and the experience with that. Very important. Very important. Is there anything else more you wanted to add, David?
I don't know. I just think for me in the past it was like this, always this gap between practice and life. So you experience it in meditation, and then you go out of meditation and it's gone. It's just a belief that it's gone. It's
Yeah, just a belief.
it's just you can stay there no matter what. It's
Absolutely.
just a matter of, in the beginning, it's a matter of always inquiring and stay aware and staying focused and not losing yourself into objects, and staying in this presence, which is this deeper presence, this awareness. Yeah.
Great, thank you for that. So what, just reinforcing or building on what David was saying there, this is he touched upon something that people commonly report, oh, it feels so like, okay, when I'm there in the meditation with you or in this group or whatever. And then people report the idea of it going away. And then he's come to the awareness or realization that's just a belief. And this idea of it going away is just a delusion, really, of the mind, because the question we can ask at that point, if the mind's going, oh, it's gone now, who is the one that is aware of that sense of going away? And you're going to see that that's awareness that's aware of that. So that means the awareness hasn't gone anywhere. It's just the mind playing tricks. So awareness never goes anywhere. It's never not here. Any phenomena, like a wave, will appear in front of it. Even the thought, oh, it's gone. Even a felt sense of that, awareness is aware of that. So what this tells us, as David was pointing at there, is that it's never not here. It's always here. And if we remain focused, or at first we trust that, and the trust then becomes the knowing, the realizing, we are that. We are that. In the end, it's profoundly simple. There is nothing complicated about it. The essence of meditation is awareness. The essence of self-realization is awareness. And you're already it. You're already it. Good. Good. Is that okay for you, David? Yeah, good. So I think I saw, did I see Andrea's hand up earlier?
Yeah, mine was very similar to David's, in that I was myself. I was someone to the left who was the before I am, and then I was the nothing, which is the awareness. And I was nowhere, but I could see everything. But there was nothing to see. And it was just so profound for me, was that. It's just, I've had glimpses of that before, but never at such a level. And it was really, I can't even put into words, because there are no words for it.
Correct.
It was just a beautiful sensation. And it was like I was a colour. When you folded back Andrea here, a colour emerged. And that there was colours coming from everyone, but we all went into one. And of course, joining all the colours together becomes white, which was nothing. And that went into nothing. And it was just so amazing. So, and my question you've just answered, because I was questioning, how do we live this? How do I live this state that I can reach in meditation, but I'm there all the time. I'm just masking it.
You are. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the mind, the belief, and the belief in the idea of the mind that's masking it.
Mm.
So basically, you might think of what we call the mind as the veil, but that's why I asked that question: who or what is aware of this sense of it disappearing, or even if it's a felt sense or a thought that it's gone, then you're going to see very, very quickly that it's awareness that's aware of that, and it hasn't gone anywhere, and it never will go anywhere. And so we touch this deeply, like you have done, David has, I know from what he's been sharing with me, both in the past and more recently. And there can be sort of this sort of like a bit of an oscillation that might sort of sense of it coming and going, but the awareness is still aware of that sense of going. And this is very important to notice that and to recognize it's the awareness that's noticing that, and keep bringing oneself back with this inquiry. Who am I? Who am I? Or who am I without the I thought that we did tonight, and who am I without memory? These are all just different aspects of the same inquiry. And the reason I use so many variations, particularly well for some people and others for others, and that's the function of where people are in their own journey of that at the moment. But the long and short of it is it never goes anywhere. And the more that we're open to recognizing that, realizing that, the deeper and deeper it anchors, the more, as David was talking about when he was sharing, this belief in this identity dissolves. And then it just deepens and anchors, integrates. And this may take some time, and that's okay. But now it's not the identity that's front and center stage. It's awareness. And awareness always remains unchanged, unmoving, untouched, unblemished. And in the end, we come to the point of that I talk about, the purpose of spiritual practice is so you don't have to practice at being who you really are. We become the living meditation, the living awareness, the living silence. That doesn't mean you won't formally still sit down and meditate. You're likely to still feel a call to do that. But then it's not so much, there's no effort involved in it. One just simply is aware. And then it's no longer a practice, it's a meditation, a true meditation, because all that meditation is, at the end of the day, is awareness, unchanging, unmoving awareness, or infinite silence. That okay for you, Andrea?
It is, yeah, that's really helpful, thank you.
Yeah, good. So some profound stuff here. So I think I saw Stefan's hand go up.
So I just wanted to comment a little about meditation, my experience. It was not as deep as other people's, but I am where I am and can't be anywhere else. I felt it was deeper than usual and might be in my imagination. And when you asked the question, who am I without I thought, first I started to answer it myself, but I thought, no, stop that. And then there came this deep sadness of losing something, but at the same time a relief, because I could feel the heaviness of this. And it was really the mind seeing how heavy it is and just wanted to lose all that and not realizing it is itself that is the cause of it. So it wants to get rid of itself somehow because it feels it's so heavy. And at the end, there was also when you said, open your eyes when you feel ready for something like that. And I felt that, oh, it's so silent here. I just want to stay here. Because when I open my eyes, the chatterbox will start again. I don't really want that. So I just wanted to stay in this silence. And it was still the mind doing this, feeling that suddenly there was no pain anymore. There was just, everything just felt okay. And I just wanted to stay in it. But it was still the mind. I could notice that.
Good. Was there anything else there before I offer some comments on that insight?
No, that was my experience.
So that was actually more profound than you might realize and deeper than you might realize, Stefan, because although there was mind trying to get involved, this, you talked at one point about a sadness. And Nicole mentioned sadness earlier. And sadness is, it's always great news when sadness appears from my perspective. And the reason for that is that it's a letting go energy. Sadness is a letting go energy. And that tends to be a phase or a step before that which is beyond sadness, which is stillness, silence, peace, beyond or before sadness. So this is good that was there. And then you talked about this sense of heaviness or relief from the heaviness, and that the recognition that this identity I that you've been believing in or carrying around as you, actually pretty heavy and dense vehicle, and that actually letting go, being open to letting go of that, which is where the sadness bit comes in. This is transformational. And although mind might have been, as we say in English, arguing the toss a little bit about it, the fact that those awarenesses were there, the sadness was there, the sense of relief was there, this is really, really more important than you might realize. And even, kind of when the mind's trying to kick back in, when the meditation comes back to a close, as we've pointed out, really, it's the awareness that's still aware of that. And it's that one's trust is placed in, and that trust becomes the knowing. So although mind might try and articulate, oh, that doesn't appear to be as deep as what David or Andrea were saying. Actually, this is really, really profoundly important. I cannot overstate the importance of those elements, that sense of relief, that sadness, that...
Yes, and I think the relief comes from I've been trying, or I'm too feeling into my emotions, like you said, that just face it, feel it fully, and then just watch it. And that's been so heavy. I thought that if nothing happens, sometimes I can feel a little release, and I've been so tired about this, and I've been feeling that it would be so good to just lose all of it. And I think this was the same feeling I felt now, that just dropping all of it will feel so amazingly good to not feel this heaviness anymore.
Because this I, and the reason this I thought meditation is so important and so powerful is because basically it's that mistaken I that's carrying that. So
Yes, I know it comes from the I thought itself, but
correct.
eventually that will have to go too.
Yeah.
And the final freedom cannot come until that has gone. And kind of fearful, but it is as it is.
It is as it is, but also the fear is just another stepping stone, you know, because the fear itself, even if it's very intense, is just another appearance in front of or within awareness. And so you don't need to fear the fear. Just go, you know, the awareness goes, oh yeah, okay, fear's here. And so what? You know, awareness is infinite.
And I'm also aware, as you said, that there's no peace in thinking. And I notice that as soon as I start thinking, there comes heaviness. And as soon as I stop thinking by focusing on my breathing or anything, it feels much lighter. So I see that this is the way to go.
Absolutely. You just reminded me of an insight that came to my wife Sue a few years ago, quite a few years ago now, and it was this: there's no joy in thinking.
I remember you said that, and I think I'm much more aware of it now that you can't think your way to feeling good.
No.
You have to stop thinking.
Thought cannot heal your pain. Presence will transform it. Thought cannot heal your pain. Presence will transform it. And for presence, read awareness, read silence.
Yeah. Yes, and I'm trusting it much more, even though I feel that it seems like nothing is happening to my heaviness in the body. And I just continue to just watch it, and eventually it will go. It may take a long, long time, but I completely trust that it will happen because I have nothing better to do with it. Nothing that affects it like that.
Yeah. So, but I can't. I must go back to you know, I can't overstate the importance of that, the seeing of that relief, that the sadness that was there. That is really experiential, and that you can trust. That happens within and in front of awareness. That's really, really important for anybody, but particularly from what I know of your journey, Stefan. So I just want to emphasize that for you. And don't try and place, this is not just for Stefan now, but it's not about in 6 months' time or 3 months' time or a year's time. Don't forget about that. Just trust, just keep going. And when the time is ripe, it flowers. It flowers. Yeah, because otherwise you'll use time as a weapon against yourself, and that's no good. Anything else, Stefan?
I also notice that I'm much more aware of this awareness that there's really nothing there, but there is some. It's very hard to explain that it's nothing, but still I'm looking from there.
Yeah, so
into the world. So I'm become much more aware of that now.
great.
And I think it's like you said, David, you can't put it into words, but it's there.
So great. So there's an awareness of awareness. You know, awareness being aware of itself might be how we try and articulate that, how we try and express it. Awareness that's aware of itself, and that yes, there is this body-mind experience of Stefan, and like people who have heard me say many times, you might have a car, and your body-mind experience is like a car, it's something that you have, but it's not that which you are. It's important for experience for our body-mind to be here. It's important for the universe for this body-mind to be here. But that which you truly are is the one that. something else David said earlier, which I forgot to pick up on, but I'll mention it now. There's something he sort of said. There's a phrase, I think it's a biblical phrase originally, or it might be anyway, but it's like being in this world, but not of it. In this world, but not of it. So the body-mind experience is in this world, it's embodied within this world, but that which you truly are is not of this world. It's before and beyond this world. Makes sense?
Okay, so basically you mean that we are looking into the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're even looking through this body-mind experience, and phenomena are happening both in the body and the world. But that which is doing the looking, that which is doing the seeing, is that which you are. Yeah.
And when you say not of it, you mean when we say we are of it, it means we identify with this body mind, and that is what we shall not do, but instead just watch what's going on. I mean, like I'm driving the car.
Yeah. So you're driving your car, and let's say it rains, and you put your windscreen wipers on, and so they're doing this, the windscreen wipers. Now, if you were to go like that when you're driving your car, you'd struggle to keep the car straight on the road, wouldn't you? What you actually do is the windscreen wipers are doing this, and you've learned through practice and driving to look. Yeah, you can see that happening, but you're not actually looking at the windscreen wipers. You're looking at the road, which is where you should be looking, or your mirror, or your mirrors, and the other traffic. Now, if the windscreen wipers, the phenomena of the world, the thoughts, the emotions, then this is quite a good analogy or metaphor for this awareness. The phenomena are happening in front of it, doing this, swinging back and forth, going to and fro. But you're the one, the awareness, that just sees it happening, and it's not distracted by the windscreen wipers.
Okay, that was a new one. I have to figure that one out, but
It wasn't to confuse you, it was to help you, but so it's a bit like that. It's just another metaphor. You know, this phenomenon is happening. That could be your thoughts, that's your emotions, but you're not focused on that. You know, that's just happening in front of awareness. That's all I mean by that. Yeah. Okay. Is that okay for you, Stefan?
yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Good. So anybody else wanting to share something, ask something? I can't see any hands up at the moment. So I'll say a little bit more whilst people are just reflecting upon all of that, because we did this, you know, who am I before or without the I thought. That's just another way of expressing its belief in the case of mistaken identity that all I am is the body mind, is the central block to the self-realization. So the reason the inquiry is so important, it's another way of stripping away this belief, this identification, this attachment. And sometimes when we surprise the mind by that kind of inquiry, and there's nowhere for it to go, then the spaces tend to open up, awareness starts to arise, because basically it's like checkmating the identity in chess. You know, there's no other move it can make. And so what the identity will typically try to do, it will, keep on playing chess moves to try to avoid checkmate. But because awareness is infinite, it's never going to ultimately win. It's always going to be checkmated. It's only a matter of when, not if. When, not if. And it can be in this body-mind experience in this lifetime, if you're willing, ready and open for this. This calling is arising. So the reason that you're here exploring this now is because at some level that calling has been felt, and you're here essentially for that checkmate event, that realization, and then the integration of it. So identity will try and make as many moves, chess moves, as it can. It will duck and dive, bob and weave. Even some moves that aren't in the book, it will try all of those, because essentially it perceives its reality, its version of reality, to be under threat. Because it's the proverbial writing is on the wall. It equates its demise with physical death. But it's not physical death, it's the death of the identification, the attachment, and belief. Most crucially, the belief that all I am is this body-mind experience. So some of you will have heard me say this: life is death. And to the mind that doesn't seem to make much sense. Life is death. But what that means is as the death in the belief, as that dies, and even the belief in belief dies, then that which remains is what life is, which is eternal awareness, eternal infinite silence. And that doesn't mean the body-mind experience is not important. It is, because as was David was sharing in his piece earlier, there's absolutely no thing happening there. No time, no space, no form, no contrast. So there's no experience in the traditional sense. And so the universe has chosen, if you like, to come to know itself in its own experience. And it does that through Stefan's body-mind experience, through Lee's, through Andrea's, through David's, through John's, Nicole's, etc., etc. So this experience, this expression in your form is profoundly important to the universe, because it's expressing itself in infinite variety. And it's through this vehicle that the opportunity is afforded for that beauty of that realization and the embodiment of that. Because without that, there'd just simply be silence, absolute. Just simply be silence, absolute. You can close your eyes for a moment now. Just something just come to me to just share with you. Just close your eyes for a moment. And just aware who is the one that is before or beyond death. Who is the one to which death is an illusion? For in the beginning was the end. This eternal moment now. Never born and will never die. Good. So if you want to just gently open your eyes and just remain as awareness. So does anybody want to ask or share anything from that one? Ah, David, okay.
What came up for me is, and there is no answer for that. Or you could say the answer is silence.
Yeah.
Yes, it's absolute silence. Sometimes it's funny what words come out. So absolute silence. What's the difference? So there can't be difference between silence and silence, but it feels like absolute silence. like not silence which you know, it's something deeper. So
Yeah.
silence is just a word, and infinity, it's all words, but there are still concepts.
Yes.
And so if you stay without, like Stefan was pointing to, without trying to answer, without thinking, without doing anything, then that is the answer. And the last few months were where I just, I don't know how to call it, like played with it or integrating it. It's like when I'm absolutely there, that it is like absolute without any thought.
Without any thought.
And it's like I decide when I want to think, and I decide if it's necessary. Whereas there is not really an I who is deciding.
Yes.
So that's the point where it's so difficult to describe. But there's thoughtless state with a potential to think.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And sometimes there are thoughts flowing, and it's different than this thoughtless state. But when thoughts are flowing, it's still like not making any big difference because it's just watched.
Right.
So there's this disturbed mind being watched, but in the absolute thoughtless state, it's like a deeper. It's just very, very blissful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. So, just a few reflections on that. You know, the word silence in itself it's obviously a word, and that's not it. But David got absolute silence, and that's really another reference to. I use the term infinite silence. Because you might think, well, why is the word infinite there? And it's there for a very important reason, because it's an indicator, an energetic bridge to the nature of this, which is infinite, has no limits, and absolute silence would point to the same essence. And you, David, also touched about the silence that you might know. So I've used this example many times. I've got the original sound yet on. So the Ting Sha bells. So now you would say they are silent, or there is silence. But this silence, the infinite silence, the absolute silence, is before and beyond all phenomena. All phenomena. Before time, one of the previous calls we asked, who am I without time? So it's before and beyond time, before and beyond space, before and beyond being. No contrast. That points to its absolute or infinite nature. And this is very important for self-realization, because it's this absolute essence, a stateless state, if you like, that's beyond phenomena, before phenomena. That's the constant backdrop, if you like, or essence from which that which we experience as the physical universe is built. Without that unchanging, unmoving essence, none of this physical domain and the domain of being, in my fiber optic lamp metaphor here, which is the light here, the pure state I am, none of that would be possible without that absolute essence, or the infinite essence, or infinite silence. That's eternal. Death means nothing to it. It is meaningless. In the beginning was the end is the same as, some of you will have seen this on a previous live stream. These are letters from the Greek alphabet, the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end. And I think it's a biblical quote again, you know, I am the alpha and the omega. What that means is I am the beginning and the end. And that's what the infinite silence or infinite essence is. It has no beginning and it has no end. And that backdrop of that is fundamental to the experience of the physical domain of life. And you are that. It's that you are seeking, and it's that which you are, because it's aware of itself as that. This you won't grasp from the mind, but there's a knowing within that will recognize this, realize this. Oh my gosh, I, infinite I, am that. Not only am I that, always one has been that. And there'll never be a time when one was not that, because it never goes anywhere. It's always, always, always here now. Anybody else want to share anything from that? I'm flicking backwards and forwards. Oh, yeah, I can see Nicole. Yeah, go on.
Okay, this is not from the mind, so it's hard to put in words, but there was like just this faint I that I could see, very faint I within the infinite silence, blankness. Sorry, my dog is just going crazy. But there was just this great sense of this deep love of this theater play with itself. Like that word entanglement came up for me at the retreat last weekend, and it just loves it so much, like beyond love, just loves this entanglement with itself. And so I thought I should share that.
Absolutely, yeah, because you got that entanglement word, didn't you? We talked about that at a retreat. And just for those who may not be kind of scientists physically bent amongst us, and I didn't get a chance to say this over the weekend, but the reason that I think that word's there, the term is used in physics, entanglement, and it might sound to the mind something kind of, but basically they talk about particles being elementary particles like protons and neutrons being entangled, either inextricably linked with one another. And these particles, that something happens to one of them, even if it's from its perspective a vast distance apart, and the communication is instantaneous, it's faster than the speed of light, and that's called quantum entanglement. And the universe is like that. The universe is like that. It's entangled with itself. This doesn't mean to say it's it's a mess. It means it's completely and inextricably interlinked with itself. And what Nicole got there was this. She described it, or tried to describe it at least, as a kind of love beyond love, a love that's so pure, so powerful, so profound. It's beyond description. So that's why I feel you're getting those words, the center. The universe is indeed entangled. It is one with itself. No part of it is separate from it, ever. Not in the slightest. Separation is an illusion. It's all entangled. Is that okay for you, Nicole?
Yes, I just wanted to convey the vastness of how exciting it is for this energy to be all of you and everything.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Perfect. So we're coming up to pretty close on an hour and a quarter here now, which is more or less the time that I allocate for these. Is there anything burning for anybody? But other than that, thank you so much, folks, for being here. We've had, just for out of interest, we've had people here from the USA, Germany, Sweden, and the UK. Blossom couldn't make it from Australia today because it was about 5 o'clock in the morning, I think it was. So thank you all for joining, and we'll get the recording available, and I'll let you know when that's available. Thank you so much. Bye now.